Call roll call. Chair Mejia? Here. Oh. Right. Director Nyarbe? Sorry, I'm trying to unmute him.
Present and pursuant to SB 707, no one over the age of 18 is in the room with me.
Director Nyarbe, we can't hear you. Secretary Treasurer Rawlings?
Present.
Director Almeida?
Here.
Director Angeles?
Present.
Director Kemp?
Here.
Director Sutton?
Here.
We have a quorum.
And for the record, Director Onove is participating in today's meeting virtually. In accordance with the board procedures, are there any objections from the members present to, for Director Onove's participation remotely? All right. And also, I do need an acknowledgement from the Director Onove stating that there's no one in the room with him
Can you hear me now?
while he's taking this meeting.
Can you hear me now?
You're very low. One moment. Try now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, present and pursuant to SB 707, no one over the age of 18 is in the room with me. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Moving on to now, Elizabeth Brown will present the June and July 2026 Employees of the Month.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Mejia, members of the board, Mr. McDonald, and all others assembled here today. I am Elizabeth Brown, Executive Director and Vice President of Organizational Development and Administration. In support of LBT's strategic priority of fostering employee engagement, it is my pleasure to acknowledge the Employees of the Month for June 2026 and July 2026. The Employees of the Month for June 2026 are Robert Ragland, Christopher Sanchez, and Patty Pena. Bus operator Robert Ragland has been with LBT for 8 years, and this is his first Employee of the Month nomination. He is currently assigned to LBT 1. Operator Ragland demonstrates professionalism, reliability, and a strong commitment to customer service. He consistently provides safe and on-time service while approaching both his customers and peers with patience, respect, and a positive attitude. Mechanic Christopher Sanchez has been with LBT for 3 years, and this is his first Employee of the Month nomination. He is currently assigned to LBT 2. Christopher is a great problem solver and has the technical skills to address complex issues, including camera systems. He is a team player and often volunteers for additional projects. In March, he assisted with the bus rodeo hosted by LBT. Christopher is always willing to take on difficult or new tasks and is a supportive member of his team. Patty Pena serves as the Service Planning Assistant Scheduler. and has been with LBT for 31 years. This is her second Employee of the Month nomination. Patty joined LBT as a customer care agent, was promoted to service planning administrator in 2007, and was subsequently promoted to her current role in June 2025. Patty supports the design, evaluation, and implementation of transit schedules. She also spends time in the field to ensure schedules align with the day-to-day operating conditions experienced by bus operator. While she regularly communicates with employees across departments to support service planning efforts, Patty is a valued resource to her team through her knowledge, mentorship, and experience. The Employees of the Month for July 2026 are Lakeisha Gray, Janet Maciel, and Tyler Wigboldy. Bus operator Lakeisha Gray has been with LBT for 19 years, and this is her first Employee of the Month nomination. She is currently assigned to LBT 1. Operator Gray provides customers with professional and safe service that is consistently on time. She has a strong commitment to customer service, showing courtesy and respect to customers. Operator Gray's positive attitude and strong work ethic make her a valuable member of the LBT team. Custodian Janet Maciel has been with LBT for 12 years, and this is her first Employee of the Month nomination. She is currently assigned to LBT 2. Janet consistently maintains a clean, safe, and organized work environment. She is willing to assist the team and consistently demonstrates integrity in her duties. Janet works independently with minimal supervision and can be relied upon to ensure her responsibilities are carried out thoroughly and efficiently. Her strong work ethic and kindness toward her colleagues make a meaningful difference to her team every day. Tyler Wigboldy serves as supervisor maintenance and has been with LBT for 5 years. This is his first Employee of the Month nomination. Tyler is a strong leader who takes ownership of maintenance operations and demonstrates excellence in his work. He is proactive in solving problems, pays close attention to detail, and approaches challenges with a calm and practical mindset. Tyler leads by example through his positive attitude, accountability, and willingness to support both his team and others at LBT. It is my pleasure to now present these valuable members of the Long Beach Transit team via video. Thank you to all of the employees of the month for being dedicated to connecting communities, moving people, making everyday life better. Thank you.
Are there any public comments? All right. Any public comment on this item? Okay, we'll make sure this is for this item for Employee of the Month. Thank you. Any discussion from the board? All right. Oh, yes, Director Kemp.
I never want to miss an opportunity to thank the employees who are recognized, and even those who haven't been recognized. You are truly the ones who make LBT work and valued in our community. So I just want to thank you personally for your service, especially 32 years. Man, that was back when we had the elementary school internship program, I guess.
Amazing. Great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and congratulations to our Employees of the Month. We're going on to public comment. At this time, I invite members of the public who want to address the board on any matters that don't appear on the agenda within the board's jurisdiction. This is public comment. Come on up.
For the $40 that the passport couldn't go from the Queen Mary to downtown, had to get a rickshaw type of thing. The person demanded $20 a piece. So that's $40. I made a complaint on the 6th of July. So no and hell no about getting the money back. I would like the money back as a senior on a fixed and limited income. That's one issue. Here's today's Grunion Gazette about the 19th with the bike fest. It was horrible and deplorable service for us seniors to get around. Also, the 4th Street bus for the seniors to get to the senior center at Alamedas and 4th Street, it either gets detoured to 3rd Street or gets detoured to 7th Street to get to 4th and Orange for us going outbound. And also, years ago, when you people were downtown, I made the suggestion, and it was taken, and I hope it takes now, that the commissioners here would get out on the buses to see what the passengers, consumer, and the drivers are going through. I mean, you're just sitting there, you're not out with the seniors and all this. So I'm representing myself and the seniors. Also, I was told by the 4th Street senior management to say something on their behalf for the seniors also. So it's some of the service is horrible and deplorable at times. And your detours. The drivers are not notified in advance. It's at the last minute that they're notified, especially on 4th Street at that construction at 4th and Alamedas. And that. And and when October comes, are we going to have a complete city closure that we can't get around by bus? You better think about that again too. So there's about the Beach Street. So I would still like to get my money back somehow, some way, special fund or something, because it was horrible on the 4th with the passport. They couldn't get to the Queen Mary to get us out. So thank you and have a good day.
Thank you for your public comment. Did you give our board secretary your information? And also, is there someone from staff that can help him? Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming down and sharing your public comment. Okay. Any other public comment?
Just for the record, we received 2 email comments and a mailed comment, which was provided to the board on the dais this afternoon.
Great, thank you. Any other public comment? Moving on to now, Ken McDonald will present the president and CEO. report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Mahia, members of the board, the ELT, and all who are assembled here today. I am Kenneth McDonald, President and CEO at Long Beach Transit. My monthly agency report will highlight some of our accomplishments and ongoing activities centered around our strategic priorities. LBT's strategic priorities are improve safety and service quality, exercise financial accountability, leverage technology and innovation, foster employee engagement, enhance customer experience, and promote community and industry focus. As I begin this afternoon, I would like to recognize the tremendous effort that went into delivering LBT's World Cup service. Deputy CEO Kimberly Yu will provide a more comprehensive update on the World Cup service, but I wanted to take a few moments to thank her, the executive leadership team, bus operators, maintenance personnel, supervisors, other staff who volunteered, and LBT's safety partners. We showed how reliable and safe transit service can be provided during special events. Our agency demonstrated the professionalism, teamwork, and dedication of our employees, many of whom are in the chamber here today. Director Angeles had an opportunity to use the service during the World Cup. I would like to give him an opportunity if you'd like to say a few words about his experience.
I was going to wait till the actual presentation. Did you want me to just kind of say that? Well, first of all, the team did an outstanding job. I would like to publicly apologize to Kimberly, because if you can tell from that picture, I did not recognize her. So I thought she was just a volunteer. And so I actually said, "Hi, what do you do for Long Beach?" And then I soon figured out, oh, it's you. But we had a pleasant time and had a great opportunity. Excellent services. Really kudos to Lee and the entire executive team that were there day in, day out. I honestly think that they lived on the bus route, lived over there for the period of time, every single time that we had a game here in Los Angeles. If this was any sort of glimpse of what 2028 would look like, I am more confident today than I was a week ago that we can pull this off. There was not a glitch, I believe, in the system, and I think Long Beach really did a fabulous job of highlighting the services that we provided, and the World Cup was a tremendous success for us as a nation, as a state, as a city, as a community, and really we as Long Beach Transit had a tremendous involvement in making that happen. So thank you to the executive team and for and all the volunteers who made it possible and made it happen.
I am extremely proud of what our team accomplished. I'm confident that this experience, as stated, our agency will welcome the 2020 and Olympics and Paralympics with the same zest. Each board member has a miniature soccer ball and a Kicking It with LBT sticker at your location. It's yours to keep. I thank you all who participated in this event. This month, the Risk and Safety Department held its third annual Summer Safety Blitz at the Long Beach Transit Gallery, promoting heat safety awareness while recognizing our bus operators for the work they do throughout the year. Staff and volunteers engaged operators in conversation about recognizing the signs and symptoms of heat-related illnesses and how to prevent them. The event also included interactive activities, refreshments, and used items to help operators stay cool and hydrated throughout the summer. This annual event is a great way to reinforce important safety practices while showing our operators how much we appreciate everything they do. Thank you to the Risk and Safety Department, our volunteers, TSD managers, and everyone who helped make this event a success. On June 29th, Chair Mejia Government Relations Manager Marisol Barajas, and I attended an event at the Port of Long Beach celebrating LBT's receipt of 7.3 million grant through the Port Clean Marine Port Incentive Program. This significant award will support LBT's first zero-emission water taxi initiative and the acquisition of 2 fully electric vessels. The project represents an important step towards transitioning our maritime operations to zero emission while continuing to provide reliable waterfront service. The funding also reflected LBT's broader commitment to environmental stewardship and sustainable transportation, both on land and in the water. It also positions LBT to pursue future funding opportunities for clean maritime transit. The picture on the slide of Port of Long Beach Director Noel Hasagaba, Chair Mejia, California Transportation Secretary Tokes Amlashakin, and myself. I would like to give the chair an opportunity. She'd like to say something about the event because this was a momentous event for Long Beach Transit.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity and to have Long Beach Transit there and to be one of the recipients. I think this is going to be long-lasting impact for our riders. So very excited about the implementation of it. And the port always does a great event. So it was a great event with a lot of Caltrans was there, a lot of the transportation agencies throughout California.
Thank you. We sincerely thank the Port of Long Beach for this investment and its partnership in advancing a cleaner and more sustainable transportation future for our region and city. On June 24th, LBT attended the Move LA conference, which brought together transportation leaders, advocates, and policymakers to discuss innovative approaches to regional mobility. The conference provided an opportunity to exchange ideas, strengthen partnerships, and explore strategies for advancing sustainable transportation and equitable access throughout the region. LBT staff also hosted an information table to engage attendees and share information about our services. On the pictures that you on this slide, you can see Supervisor Janice Hahn, Councilmember Tuna Trash Intok, Move LA Executive Director Eli Lippman, Mayor Rex Richardson, Deputy CEO Kimberly Yu, and members of the LBT team representing the agency at the LBT information table. In the agency's effort to promote community and industry focus, staff has participated in various community events this month. Staff participated in the Long Beach Commission on Aging meeting, where we engaged with older adults and connected them with programs and services designed to support their mobility needs. LBT community relation teams participated in Beach Street this past Sunday. I think our person who commented talked about that. I would like to know what happened. Where we featured LBT's first ever community cooling bus. The activation provided attendees with a comfortable place to cool down while also offering a bike rack demonstration, an inside look at our buses, and information about our services. Last week, board members Anove, Angeles, and Kemp, Executive Director VP Lee Berner, and Board Secretary Jen Flores attended the American Public Transportation Association Transit Board Members and Administrators Seminar in Detroit, Michigan. APTA's Transit Board members and board administrators come together annually for peer exchange and professional development on board governance and policy development for public transportation agency. Topics this year included federal, local, and regional funding, cybersecurity, lessons learned from mega events, system safety and security, ethics, procurement, government, governance, relationship between board members and CEO, ADA and accessibility, board members and board administrator relationship, and managing public comments and record requests. At this time, I would like to call on any of the attendees who would like to share some of their experience at the seminar. Either, since we only have two today, any one of you all in one.
Well, for just to share with the group, we were happened to be there at the same time that they had the smoke coming from Canada. So it was quite a scene actually. So you pretty much just went from the airport to the hotel and hotel back to the airport. But I would also like to recognize that Lee did an excellent job on his panel that he had spoke in and highlighted his career and things of a lot of the conversations that we had. The value of the conference, more importantly, is actually the exchange of ideas among the various board members that were there. And Jen always does an excellent job in her particular group as well. So it's a very valuable part of, I think, a learning curve for many of us that are, board of directors. So really enjoyed and valued the exchange of ideas and education.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say thanks to Jen for helping to organize, not only coordinate our travel there, but to help organize the entire conference. Both Jen and Lee are highly respected in this organization. You can see that. People bend the knee when they walk by. So it was an honor to be there with them. I would only add to what Director Angeles had to say with the presentations on policy were very useful, and I would invite our CEO as well as board counsel to get copies of those and take a look at those, especially those relating to some of the legal matters that they brought up. But great conference, and again, thank you, Jen and Lee, for your staff support. Great job.
And Director Honorves on the line wants to make a comment too.
Director Norve, you did not unmute yourself.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Ken, thank you for the opportunity to share some of my observations and for the opportunity to attend the conference. I won't repeat what has already been said, but I do want to just say really quickly that one of the highlights for me was the TED Talk style session, which was very different from the traditional conference presentation. There were no numbers, there were no metrics, there were no maps. Rather, it focused on individuals like our own Lee Burner to share their history that shaped their careers. I found Lee's story about growing up in a family deeply involved in the civil rights movement and his experience crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge when we were in Alabama. Very telling and very touching. So I thank him for sharing that personal story. And another thing I want to share that some of us talk about at the meetings is I was struck by several transit executives who intentionally rode their own systems or purchased fares themselves to better understand customer experience. I think that was one of the things that the gentleman up during public comment touched on. It only reinforces the value of experiencing the service that we provide the way our riders do. So again, that was something that came up. I normally don't hear executives or leadership staff say that. So I just wanted to share that with you. But again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Right. Thanks for the feedback from the conference. Thank you all very much. Finally, I want to talk about proposed changes. The Federal Office of Management and Budget recently proposed revision to CFR Part 200, commonly known as the Uniform Guidance. These requirements govern the administration of federal funding and other financial assistance received by agencies such as LBT. Of particular concern is the expanded oversight and enforcement authority the proposal will provide to federal agents. The federal government could conduct an on-site or virtual compliance review and impose additional conditions when concerns are identified. The proposal would also allow the federal agent to issue a written order temporarily suspending all or part of federal awards for up to 90 days. If the transit agency does not follow certain requirements, such as presidential priorities, no explanation given, questionable practices, no explanation given, membership affiliation to certain membership groups, and or not assisting federal departments. During the period, the recipient could generally be required to stop the effective work, limit additional costs, and document his effort to minimize expenses. The agent could subsequently lift the suspension, extend it, or by mutual agreement, or proceed with terminating the award. Other potential consequences for non-compliance could include withholding payments, disallowing costs, requiring repayment of funds, withholding future federal funding for a project or program, or initiating suspension or disbarment proceedings. For an agency such as an LBT, and even a temporary interruption in reimbursement or access to federal grants could affect project schedules, cash flow, and delivery of capital programs. APTA submitted comments on behalf of the total public transit industry, expressing concern about this approach. APTA urged the OMB to withdraw the proposal rule or reconsider making the uniform guidance binding across all federal agencies. APTA's primary concern is that federal agents, including the Department of agencies, including the Department of Transportation and FDA, should retain the flexibility to implement the uniform guidance in a manner that reflects the unique needs of their programs and the grant recipients like LB. On Friday, a federal judge in Boston halted the OMB's policy changes on grant termination in a lawsuit brought by 23 states, including California. We can expect an appeal. Staff will continue to monitor the rulemaking process and evaluate any potential effect as it moves forward and the LBT federally funded program. My biggest concern with this is that the federal funding programs has a drop dead date, as I've mentioned many times in this meeting, at the end of September. If this drags out to the end of September, no one knows what will happen after that. So this is a major concern to all of us in public transit on where this sort of proposal is heading. With that ends my CEO report for the month. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, any discussion from the board? All right, thank you, Ken. Now we'll move on to the consent calendar. All matters including on the consent calendar are considered routine by LBT Board of Directors and will be enacted by one motion. There's no separate discussion on these items unless a member of the Board of Directors or the public so request, in which the event of the matter shall be removed from the consent calendar or considered as a separate item. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. Call for a roll call vote.
Chair Mejia,
Aye.
Vice Chair Yorbe,
Aye.
Secretary Treasurer Rawlings,
Aye.
Director Almeida,
Aye.
Director Angeles,
Aye.
Director Kemp,
Aye.
Director Sutton.
Aye.
Great, the motion carries. The consent calendar is approved. Now Lee Berner will present agenda item 8.
Good afternoon, Chair Mejia, members of the board, Ms. McDonald, and all who are virtually assembled here today. My name is Lee Berner. I'm the Executive Director and Vice President of Transit Service Delivery and Planning. I am before you today to request the board to authorize the president and CEO to enter into a contract with Intercom Security for provision of security officers and transit ambassador services. LBT is committed to maintaining resources for the safety and security of its employees, assets, and the customers we serve. As a way of background, LBT contracts with an outside provider for the provision of security officers and transit ambassadors at LBT properties and throughout our transit services. Contracted security service provides security guards at the LBT properties at LBT 1, Cherry, and Anaheim Street, LBT 2 at Cherry and 68th Street, LBT corporate headquarters, and transit ambassadors that monitor transit service areas such as various bus shelters, bus stops, and ride-alongs, as well as the First Street Transit Gallery. Security service is provided by the contractor 24 hours per day, 365 days a year. There are currently 12 unarmed security officers working in overlapping shifts to ensure continuous security coverage, inspecting critical access points, and identifying safety and security hazards for immediate mitigation. LBT has 12 state-certified transit ambassadors and 1 transit ambassador supervisor who supervises and works in teams of 2 during LBT service hours. Transit ambassadors provide visible assistance, clear communication, conflict prevention support, assist in wayfinding, a calm human presence, as well as present LBT at various community events throughout the year. While LBT transit ambassadors are not a replacement for safety or security teams, they help reduce confusion, support customer confidence, and guide issues to the right resources. The current contract between Allied Universal Security Services will expire October 31st, 2026. LBT issued a request for proposal, or an RFP, to qualified firms to receive 21 proposals. The proposals were evaluated based on the following criteria: qualification of the firm, staffing and project organization, management plan and approach, and of course, pricing. Intercom Security, headquartered in Pasadena, California, scored the highest rating and was found to be responsive and responsible by LBT's procurement department. Contract amount represents an approximately 18% increase over the previous authorization. The increase is primarily driven by higher labor rates and the addition of a dedicated account manager. Based on operational challenges experienced under the previous contract, the dedicated account manager will provide enhanced oversight, improve staffing coordination, and serve as a single point of contact to help ensure contract performance and timely resolution of service issues. Intercom Security, along with LBT staff, have developed a transition plan to ensure a safe, orderly, and compliant transition for the incumbent security contractor to the new contractor without disruption to LBT operation, our customers, and our employees. Small Business Enterprise, or SBE, goal of 12% was established for the solicitation. Intercom Security will be utilizing Diligence Security, an SBE certified private security company, to provide security guards and security consulting services for 12% of the total contract. Therefore, staff is requesting the board to authorize the president and CEO to enter into a 3-year contract with the Intercom Security for the provision of security officers and transit ambassador service for a cost of $5,971,354, with 2 one-year options at $2,155,407 for option year 1 and $2,167,659 for option year 2, with an 8% contingency of $823,554 for a total authorization not to exceed $11,117,974. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment? Seeing none, any discussion from the board? Director Rawlings? Fields? Director Kemp?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. This, from everything I've seen in person, being in downtown and seeing some folks, as well as previous reports, it's been a great program, and I'm looking forward to being able to continue it. I do have a quick question. Can you walk us through any material changes that we're making to the program based on what we've learned over the last couple of years with it, or are we repeating the same process just with a different contract?
No, actually, we are making some very different changes. One being the account manager. We didn't have an account manager in this in the current contract. And that account manager, we will be directly the oversight person of the entire contract.
So thank you. So how about more for customer facing changes? Is this going to feel any different than it already does?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The new contractor, if in fact they are approved, has gone through a rigorous customer service training. There's additional training that will be required and mandated by LBT. In addition to that, I think they're bringing on new technology that will also be very different than what we currently have.
Okay, great. Perfect. And I assume we have a way to formalize that process as this continues, right? We can learn a lot in 3 years of a contract or how to make it even better. Do we have a way internally to continue to improve this?
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, it's part of the transition plan.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Director Kemp?
Thanks, Madam Chair, and thank you for your presentation, Mr. Berner. I just had a question. I think you said it was 12% or 13% contingency for SB. Can you tell us more about that?
12%. Yes, the contractor that they are using, Diligent Security Services, they are a small business that will be assisting in hiring, recruiting, and managing the security guards and the transit ambassadors.
You know how they arrived at that percentage?
I don't have that information in front of me, but we certainly can get it to you.
I appreciate that. And I don't want to, it's not a gotcha question. I'm genuinely curious about that. And it can be in the follow-up, but I am curious as to how they arrived at that 12%. And is that something they did voluntarily, or is that attached to something that you have put in place?
So we do that. We set the goal because our regulatory compliance officer look at the contract, they look at what is available, and we set a goal. Normally it's somewhere between 8 and 15%, mostly around 10% that we look at. But we look at the cost of the contract and the availability of the people who can support those contracts from a certified SBE pool that you look at. That is I'm trying to remember while I'm talking, I'm trying to remember the document that you follow in California to do that, to come up with the number, but it is set by us. But the 12% was set by Long Beach Transit.
Yeah, I'd appreciate the details in the follow-up report. Thank you.
And Director Honorbe?
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Lee. Nice to see you again. The following questions I have and the rationale focus on kind of the oversight and fiduciary responsibility rather than having an opposition to security services, which I wholly support. The first question I have is just with the 3-page report in front of us, the agency is requesting over $11 million, but the report does not compare the proposed cost to the current contract. So I don't have enough information to determine if this represents good value to the agency at $11 million. And also there's no justification of cost escalation or contracts contracts pricing. Is that something you can address right now?
I believe it would be better addressed if we address that at a different time. I don't have the information, all of the details of it in front of me as we speak.
Okay, then in that case, you probably won't have questions to the next three questions or concerns I have. But I'm gonna lay them out. I'd like to understand, in regards to the lack of explanation for changing vendors, there's no explanation. I mean, we're in July and the contract ends in October. The timing seems off. So I'd like to understand, why are we changing vendors? Is that something you can answer right now?
Yes. Well, first of all, we did a competitive bid. The contract ends in October, and we try to get it to the board at least 2 to 3 months in advance of the contract ending. So we did a competitive bid and received 21 proposals, and of that 21, Intercom Security was the most responsive bidder.
Yeah, I read that part in the report, which brings me to my next concern, is the desire for more procurement transparency. Although the report states that 21 proposals were received and Inter received 96 points, the report doesn't disclose how the other top ranked firms scored, or at least summarized the evaluations. For example, customer service, experience, competitiveness, et cetera, et cetera. So, and my fourth concern is the performance expectations are not defined in your report. So I'm not comfortable approving an $11 million long-term contract without knowing how success with Intercon will be measured. I mean, again, I'm coming from a governance and a duty to look over the agency, and I'm just not comfortable with this report. It lacks a lot of information. I do support strong security at Long Beach Transit. I support strong security for our riders. However, I don't think this board has been provided sufficient information to justify $11 million contract.
I would like to respond to that question because we keep all of the documents. We have a spreadsheet that we go through. How we come to this. We used to bring this to the board, and it was asked that we didn't because it took so long to go through all of that. Now you're saying we should bring it back, so we could bring it back. That's not a problem. But we keep that because if we don't, and one of the vendors file a complaint, we have to be able to show the spreadsheet with how we did the comparisons before we do the evaluation. The evaluation criteria is in the RFP of what we will evaluate each vendor on, and then the scoring is kept. So we have all of that. We just don't bring that whole big report through the board. So if that is the board wish that we bring that in, we could go back there, but we used to do that before, and it was said we didn't have to bring it, or it wasn't necessary to bring all of that detail. So but we have all of that, because if we don't do it, like I said, and someone had a protest, then we wouldn't be able to defend the organization.
Right, I understand. Thank you.
And then Director Kemp.
Yeah. Thanks, Madam Chair. And thank you for your question, Director Norve. I have no doubt that you've done due diligence in bringing this to the board, but I do agree that $11 million is a lot of money. I think there are some good questions raised by Director Norve. A couple questions for you, Ken. How long ago was that asked to not be brought to the board? Was it under this current board?
It was not, it was a while ago. We used to bring a long report, and we came up with, there was a requirement that we come up with the process before we got there, but I don't remember the exact time when that was done, but it was not in this board.
I think it's relevant that some other board asked for that. I think, it would be good to be responsive to this board. I do have a question about this contract. Is there anything, I appreciate the fact that it terminates in October and you are way ahead of the game, which is great for the organization. I appreciate that. But is there anything that would prohibit us from tabling this for now until some of these questions get answered and bring it back for a vote next month?
So let me first answer the first part of the question about timeliness. We made myself as the CEO made a commitment to a previous board. I think we can do that we will try to bring any event of any issues like this 3 months ahead so that we can have exactly what you are having here, any conversation or any question that we had. And if we had to come back, we don't affect the contract. So that was agreed to by a previous board, which I think seems like if it's not done with this board, we have to bring it back. But that was done then. So if we want to have whatever the board, I can't tell the board what to do in this, but that was the process. That's why we're here in July when this thing is all the way in October, so that we are always ahead. We had one time that we brought one that was very short and there was no point to have discussion. So if the board chooses to do that, that would be the board decision.
I think
Madam Chair, sorry, Mr. Turner.
Yeah, in addition, we have a 60-day transition plan that we generally try to put together. And that's part of this proposal. There's a 60-day transition plan.
Thank you. Thank you for both of those answers. Madam Chair, if it pleases the makers of the motion, I'd like to submit a substitute motion that this item be held over until the next meeting.
Who were the original makers of the motion?
Director Rawlings was the first and Director Angeles was the second.
And this will be coming back in September.
Correct. We are dark next month in August, so this would not come back until the end of September.
Sounds good. Do the makers of the motion?
Point of order, for a substitute motion, the chair has to see if there's a second for that substitute motion. If there's a second for that substitute motion, the substitute motion takes precedent over the primary motion. If it passes, the primary motion dies. So if there's no second, then
if I can clarify, what is the substitute motion?
That this be brought back at the next regular board meeting when the answers to the questions can be provided.
So yes, I would need a second on that.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. We will go with, you can go ahead.
Is there any problem with the delay of approval of this? Because we don't meet in August, we meet in September. Is there a transition phase? And if so, how long? And because we don't want to suffer a delay in service and security here. So could you kind of walk us through what that transition might look like and how long it takes?
We have a 60-day transition plan, which would start in August. That would include training, one. That would also include hiring, interviews that would take place with the current employees. There's procurement issues that is also a part of that. But primarily, that's mostly what we'll be going through.
So you're saying that there's going to be a negative impact if this approval is delayed?
Yeah, because we're also talking about people's lives here that we have to interview and have discussions with. That's a number of employees that we'll have to talk to.
So is it possible to delay this issue until later today and you can get the information that the director has asked for so that we can approve this? I mean, is there time? Is there staff available that can provide? There were some simple questions there that should be available to staff. I'm trying to get this passed.
Question.
Okay. So I think if we answer the director's questions and that director is satisfied, I think we could move this on. Otherwise, it's going to get delayed.
Hold on, but it was my understanding that all of these contracts are 3 months in advance in case we do have to delay. If there is a situation like this that we need a delay. Was I correct? All right, so we have a couple of folks on the queue. So Director Angeles and then Director.
I think we don't have to unanimously vote on these. If you have one director who's going to vote no for it, if you have enough votes with respect to passing it, you can still pass it.
Oh, absolutely. But we had a director that opposed, and we have a substitute motion that was first and seconded. So that's 3 possibly. So I'm just, I like consensus and I like information, and I think the public needs to know. And I don't like delays because my other job is a staff position, and I know what impact this has on staff if it isn't voted for. So I know we can't poll, but I guess we could hear from all the directors in terms of, are they opposed? So anyway, I hear what you're saying.
Okay, and then Director Kemp or
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the follow-up question, Director Sutton. I too am a staffer, so I'm sympathetic, but I have a fiduciary responsibility in this role. And again, I don't have any concern, frankly, about the professionalism that accompanied the putting together of this presentation and this contract. But I do think these are legitimate questions that should be asked, and I think you've offered a great solution. My hope is that we can have some of those answers delivered today, and if so, great. But if we can't, I wonder, Director Berner or Ken, is there anything within our contract with the current vendor that would allow us to pay them for an extra 30 days that wouldn't compromise the safety of our riders and the training and the hiring that you described, which are all very important things that should be given ample time to be done and not be done under the gun? We're a little bit under the gun in approving this contract. I wouldn't want to put whoever gets the contract under the gun in trying to implement the contract. Is there anything that could be put in place should we not be able to get the answers to the questions, which we hopefully can today from staff, that would allow the current vendor an extra 30 days? I'm sure they wouldn't walk away from the money.
Well, in the event they agree to an additional 30 days, that's an opportunity. Well, not to say that they will. Some do, some don't. But I think in this case, we would really be risking a lot by not voting on it, I would think, at this point.
I understand. And I'm not interested in risking the safety of the riding public. But I guess my question is, have we in the past extended contracts with current vendors who did not get the contract that was going to a new vendor so that we could have a seamless transition?
Yes, we have.
Thank you.
okay, and Director Rawlings.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try to keep this short because I know we're going over. I just have 2 quick questions and then a brief comment. My first question is, I presume this has already been budgeted for in our budget that was approved earlier this year. This type of contract, correct? This amount has already been approved essentially by the board.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Second question is there a material risk that if our current vendor says no, there would be an actual gap in service?
There could very well possibly be, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I would like to remind the board, as also having been someone that serves on the board as well as a staffer, that it is our job as a board to trust the staff to make good decisions about this. And I don't believe our lack of awareness about something should stop staff from doing something that we've previously approved to have been fine, and through a process that has been successfully operating for many years already. Not to say that there aren't opportunities to do that, but I think it is far bigger of a risk to throw a wrench in what appears to be a continuation of previous policy, and would just ask that we table this at a later date instead of throwing a wrench in what our staff does.
So is that like a motion or just like a comment?
Just a comment.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes. Oh, okay, Director Norman, we'll give him.
Director Inyori?
Oh. Sorry, Chair, I didn't hear you. Thank you for the discussion. I appreciate the comments in support and also your concerns. I also do not want to give staff more work. I also, like I stated, care very much about security services and safety, not only for LBT employees, but also for our riders. But I continue to maintain that I just don't believe the board has enough information to authorize $11 million. I would like to see a comparison with the current contract, an explanation of why the incumbent was not selected, clearly defined performance metrics, and additional detail regarding the pricing and contingency, which is something I didn't mention, but 8% contingency for a service contract. I understand that 8% is common, but for a service contract, that one I don't understand. So for those reasons, I cannot support the item as presented. And I do trust staff, and I'm sure they have done their due diligence, but it's just not in the report. And this seems to be a common theme that some reports are not detailed enough when asking for millions of dollars. That's my concern. Thank you, Chair.
Any? Okay. Go for it. Go ahead, Director Stein.
Sorry. I appreciate your comments, Director Norby, but the agenda is brought to us. It's supposed to be brought to us, by Friday, the week prior, and there was plenty of time to provide staff with questions about this if you had concerns. So I'm going to support this effort and vote yes. But I think in the future, if any of the board members, I would ask the board respectfully to consider, if you have questions about board reports, get those questions to Jen and Ken early so that staff can provide you with the answers so that we don't hold up $11 million contracts that have to be voted on in order to ensure a seamless transfer for security of this agency. Thanks.
Then
Chair, may I respond?
hold on, we'll go with Director Kemp and we'll go back to you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, colleagues, for your comments. I think that, while I do trust staff as a staffer, I don't see it as my job as a member of this board to trust staff. My job on this board is to look out for the riding public as an appointee of a public official for a public agency. And while I do agree that there is a responsibility for board members to ask questions in advance when possible, we sometimes have to ask questions on the floor. And sometimes those questions are important to ask in a public setting for the benefit of the public that we serve. So while I appreciate the view, I respectfully have a different perspective on at least what my responsibility as a member of this board is. I do know that it looked like an able staff member from your team was hustling in response to Director Sutton's request for information. And I'd like to hear whatever information may have been brought from that, because that will inform whether or not I retract my substitute motion and go back to the main motion. Is it okay if we hear from Mr. Berner now?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to talk about. I am still trying to get clarity on what exactly we're walking away here as the person who's going to lead that to bring back to the board. I heard a lot of questions, but I didn't get direction on what exactly are we bringing back that would make the difference.
But respectfully, if I may, Madam Chair, respectfully, Mr. Berner and his staff heard the question, It sounds like they have an answer prepared, and I'm happy to allow you time to get to know the answer, but that would cost us time, which sounds like people are concerned about. So I'd like to hear the answer if you're okay with it, which might expedite us getting this contract approved. Otherwise, we may have a delay.
You understood the question that you have an answer to do, sir?
I
Seems like you're
understand
gonna
the
have an
question.
intent.
However, I think there's a lot in the question. And what I have to share is only limited information that will address the question. But hopefully what I share with you will help us to move this on. We had an evaluation committee of internal and external folks who evaluated all of these proposals. Again, we had 21 proposals that came in, and it came down to one. The evaluation criteria, of course, was the technical, a maximum of 80 points, the cost, a maximum of 20 points, and the top rank, and this is how they ranked: intercom security system, the technical and the price was 95.83, the technical only for 80 points. Another company, Good Guard, 93.33, and the technical only was 76 points. RMI International, 80.80, technical and price, and 66 points was the technical only. And I have 3 or 4 other ones who scored the same way, but the scores continued to decrease, whereas intercom security was obviously the highest.
Madam Chair, given that information, and if it please the court, can you tell us the name of the staffer that hustled and got that information for you? I think staff deserves a shout out for that.
Our procurement staff and
Cave Wise.
Great job. Given that information, I want to say one thing first. I know that I think we're going to have we've had a discussion. We had a discussion last meeting about some of the budget procedures and how we came to that. And I think we're going to have some future and near future discussions about that. I think this discussion is reflective of opportunities to improve how we manage budget conversations in this organization. But I will table my comments on that for later. And at this point, Madam Chair, I'm satisfied with the information that's been provided by staff. I know it's stressful as staff. I'm a staffer. Excellent job. Thank you. I withdraw my substitute motion.
Great. Call for a vote. Any additional discussion?
Yeah,
Okay.
Chair, I had something to add.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
Well, I was going to clarify the vote before we do it.
yeah, the motion.
I was just about to say, do you want to let Director know?
Yeah, I'll have the director on over.
thank you. Director Sutton, thank you for your feedback. Just for your information and everyone else's information, I was in Detroit. The agenda didn't come out until Monday. And now this brings up another issue of concern, is the discussion of the Brown Act. My understanding is I can't ask any questions outside of a public meeting. So you're suggesting that I should have submitted these questions ahead of time. So it was a matter of time and also understanding the procedure and not possibly violate the Brown Act. Like you, I also do not like delays. Like you, I also do not like more work. So that's that. And then for Lee, thank you very much for those numbers. But those do not tell me anything about any price differences of the contract. But I appreciate the effort you and your staff made in the last 15 minutes. Thank you, Chair.
Great, thank you. The motion that we currently have.
If you care to hear, yeah. So the Brown Act doesn't prohibit elected or appointed officials from asking questions in advance of staff. What the Brown Act prohibits, and I believe what Director Norvay was alluding to, prevents collective deliberation and serial meetings. So if elected or appointed official sends information to Mr. McDonald, and then contacts another elected or appointed official, contacts another elected or appointed official about that particular topic, and they deliberate, and the elected or appointed official then indicates how he or she is going to vote on that item, have a serial. But if it's an individual one-way communication to staff saying, I need more information on this particular item, there's no prohibition.
Thanks for the clarification. The motion that we have right now is a recommendation to authorize President and CEO to enter into 3-year contract with Intercom Security for the provisions of security services and transit ambassadors services at a cost of $5,971,354 with a 1-year option at $2,155,470 and $7 for option year 1 and year 1 $2,167,659 for option year 2 with the 8% contingency of $23,554 for a total authorization amount not to exceed $11,117,974. That is a motion that we are approving. Then we'll call for a vote.
Chair Mejia,
Aye.
Vice Chair Yorbe,
No.
Secretary Treasurer Rawlings,
Aye.
Director Almeida,
Aye.
Director Angeles,
Aye.
Director Kemp,
Aye.
Director Sen.
Aye.
The motion is approved. What, do I have to reread it again? Motion approved.
But I just want to add something about this. So the contingency, I want to make that clear, is controlled by the CEO. Nobody spends the contingency unless we have an emergency in this contract. The contractor does not get the contingency. We keep the contingency to us, and if there is something like we had that the World Cup, we can use some of the money to do those things. So I want to make clear that the contingency does not leave the organization. I, as the CEO, control all contingency on contract. We do not give it out to them. So you can subtract that monitor how we spend it, but you don't give the contract to the contingency. I just wanted to make that clear.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Lee. Jennifer Maxwell will present agenda item 9.
Okay, we're good. Good afternoon, Chair Mejia, members of the board, Mr. McDonald, and to all who have assembled here today. My name is Jennifer Maxwell, and I'm the manager of the capital program. I'm here before you today to request the board to adopt a resolution authorizing the president and CEO to file funding applications for the subsidies under Article 4 of the Transportation Development Act, also known as TDA, as well as the state transit assistance programs known as STA and SB1 STA. Incentive 1 STA, sorry, for fiscal year 2027. If approved, this item brings $36.52 million from 3 state funding sources to LBT, which will operationally sustain a public transit system that more than 19 million customers depend on annually. The FY 2027 allocation of TDA, STA, and SB1 funding will support daily operations for the agency. The funds were already included in LBT's recently approved fiscal year 2027 budget. The $36.52 million consists of $35 million in TDA Article 4 funds, $4.09 million in STA funds, and $3.08 million in SB1 funds. TDA funds are derived from a 1/4 cent statewide retail sales tax. STA funds are derived from a statewide sales tax on diesel fuel, and SB1 funds are derived from an excise tax on gasoline. These funds are apportioned to counties based on the amount of tax collected and allocated based on the established formula allocation procedure. For historical context, over the 3-year period shown, LBT has received an average of approximately $43 million annually, including $32.9 million in TDA, $5.7 million in STA, and $4.3 million in SB1 STA funding. The total formula funding has declined from $47.38 million from FY25 to $36.52 million in FY27, a cumulative reduction of about 23%. Year over year, total funding has decreased approximately 2% in FY25, 16% in FY26, and 8% in FY27. The drivers have varied by year. The FY 2026 reduction was primarily attributable to a decline in TDA funding, while FY 27 reduction is driven by approximately 41% decreases in both STA, SB1 STA funding, partially offset by roughly 6% increase in TDA funding this year. These allocations fluctuate with estimated underlying tax revenues driven by the state economy, which affects annual state and regional apportionment estimates. Changes in taxable retail sales, diesel, and fuel-related revenues can therefore increase or decrease funding independently of LBT's operating performance. Annually, LBT is required to comply with various certifications and assurances to be eligible to receive these funds. This includes filing financial and operating reports with the State Controller's Office, certification with the California Highway Patrol, reduced transit fare ID requirements, and submittal of a certified fiscal and compliance audit. The compliance audit is included in LBT's annual single audit report and presented to the board each year in January. And now something to celebrate. In FY25, LBT underwent a State of California TDA triennial performance review covering years FY22 to FY24, where Long Beach Transit met all compliance requirements with respect to Public Utility Code 99246. Today, staff is requesting the Board of Directors to adopt a resolution authorizing the President and CEO to file funding applications for fiscal year 2027 subsidies under Article 4 of the Transportation Development Act and the State Transit Assistance Programs in the amount of $36,520,443. This concludes my presentation.
Great, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Don't move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Are there any public comments? Any discussion from the board? All right. Seeing none, call for a vote.
Chair Mejia,
Aye.
Vice Chair Yorbe,
Aye.
Secretary Treasurer Rawlings,
Aye.
Director Almeida,
Aye.
Director Angeles,
Aye.
Director Kemp,
Aye.
Director Sutton.
Aye.
The motion carries the recommendation to adopt resolution authorizing the President and CEO to file funding application for fiscal year 2027 subsides under Article 4 of the Transportation Development Act and state transportation programs totaling $36,520,453 is approved. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now Kimberly Yu will be presenting agenda item 10.
Great. Good afternoon, Chair Mejia, members of the board, Mr. McDonald, and all who are assembled here today. My name is Kimberly Yu, Deputy CEO at Long Beach Transit, and I'm here before you to provide the Board of Directors a World Cup 2026 game service delivery update. I'll summarize our operational performance, customer outcomes, and lessons learned that will strengthen our preparations for future mega events, particularly the LA 28 Olympics and Paralympic Games. For today's presentation, I will be discussing the following: the World Cup 2026 overview, LBT service highlights, and key lessons learned. The World Cup represented one of the largest coordinated transit efforts ever undertaken in Southern California. 14 transit agencies worked together to deliver a regional transportation service plan, and you can see on this slide list of all 14 agencies. Over the 29-day tournament period, from June 12th through July 10th, Long Beach Transit proudly served as a gateway to all 8 FIFA World Cup matches. During that time, we provided 7,488 customer trips using 18 dedicated buses, offering fans a reliable and affordable transportation option with a one-way fare of just $1.75. On average, we transported 936 customers per match, with our highest single match ridership reaching 1,158 passengers during the United States versus Turkey match on June 25th. These results demonstrated that our service plan effectively met customer demand and showcased the agency's ability to successfully deliver large-scale special event transportation. As this slide shows, our ridership steadily increased throughout group matches, growing from 760 customers on June 12th to a peak of 1,158 customers on June 25th. Demand exceeded 1,100 customers during multiple matches, underscoring the growing awareness and confidence in our service. While ridership declined on the final service day, we believe this was largely driven by the third place match attracting fewer spectators and fewer international visitors remaining in the region. Every department contributed: operations, maintenance, safety, security, customer service, finance, IT, administration, and all of our volunteers all worked together to maintain reliable service. Specifically, LBT operated a dedicated shuttle service from downtown Long Beach to the regional transit provider drop-off location at LA Stadium, providing convenient access to transit connections. For each match, LBT deployed 15 buses plus 3 spares, supported by operations staff to maintain schedule flexibility and respond to shifting customer demand. The event branded buses reinforced a consistent visual identity, and while enhancing cleaning and maintenance, ensure vehicles remain in excellent condition. In addition, maintenance staff work closely with the Operations Control Center to monitor fleet performance in real time, address issues promptly, and minimize service disruption. Spare buses were strategically available throughout each event to maintain reliability and continuity. Customers received information through multiple channels before and during every match. LBT implemented a comprehensive communication strategy using coordinated messaging across social media, real-time alerts, a dedicated World Cup webpage, targeted digital advertising and social media, and a range of print and community outreach materials. These also included hotel visitor information, business window clings, community newsletters, and bilingual flyers distributed throughout Long Beach. On each match day, LBT staff and volunteers provided on-site customer support, assisting with wayfinding, answering questions, and guiding riders through the boarding process. This hands-on presence ensured a seamless, welcoming experience for customers traveling to and from the event. Customer information emphasized shuttle services, pickup and drop-off locations, fare accessibility, and travel planning, with consistent messaging maintained in partnership with City of Long Beach, Metro, and other regional agencies. Safety remained our highest priority throughout the tournament. Our partnership with Long Beach Police Department allowed us to quickly respond to any issues while maintaining uninterrupted service. Specifically, Long Beach Police Department, transit enforcement detail officers, transit ambassadors, and LBT personnel maintained a strong, visible presence at our shuttle boarding locations, assisting customers and supporting orderly operations while enforcing public safety. This integrated approach helped deliver a safe, secure, and reliable transportation experience for all of our customers. Lastly, LBT conducted pre-event briefings to align staff, identify potential issues, and ensure operational readiness. And post-event debriefs were held to review performance, identify areas of improvement, and strengthen coordination for future events. Continuous evaluation before and after each match supported efficient operations and enhanced interdepartmental communication. So now I'll go over some key lessons learned from the World Cup 2026 experience. While the tournament was a tremendous success, it also reinforced three factors that were critical to that success: preparation, communication, and trust. First, preparation. Our success began months before the first match. Early planning with City of Long Beach, Metro, law enforcement, and other partners allowed us to identify operational challenges, develop contingency plans, and ensure the right staffing, equipment, signage, and customer resources were in place. We also learned that even earlier coordination on dedicated bus lanes, staging areas, and traffic management will further strengthen future operations. Second, communication. Clear and consistent communication among operators, supervisors, Metro, Long Beach Police Department, transit ambassadors, and volunteers enabled us to respond quickly to changing conditions. Providing timely information on traffic, staging, fare collection, and customer service helped keep operations running smoothly and ensure customers receive consistent guidance throughout the tournament. Finally, trust. Trust was built through reliable service, visible staff presence, and consistent execution. Strong ridership, positive customer feedback, and the professionalism demonstrated by our employees reinforced public confidence in our agency as a dependable transportation provider for major events. So now to lessons learned. Specifically from an operational perspective, we identified 5 key lessons that will strengthen future events service delivery. First, service frequency and capacity planning. Our ridership consistently demonstrated strong demand for event transit. Deploying between 11 to 14 buses in each direction effectively met customer demand, although we will continue evaluating capacity needs during peak surges and refine schedules to account for traffic conditions. Second, bus staging and lane management. One of our biggest operational challenges was unauthorized vehicles, including trucks, rideshare vehicles, autonomous vehicles, and party buses occupying designated bus lanes. While our field teams adapted quickly, this reinforced the need for earlier coordination with Metro and stronger enforcement of dedicated bus-only areas to improve ingress, egress, and overall service reliability. Third, safety and incident management. Overall, our safety performance was excellent. Our verification process, including onboard video review and vehicle inspections, ensured accurate reporting and prevented misinformation. Fourth, interagency coordination. Continued collaboration with Metro and our regional partners will be critical. Priorities including securing dedicated bus lanes near Intuit Dome, ensuring fare collection equipment and tap connectivity are fully operational before service begins, and improving customer payment procedures and equipment deployment to create a seamless customer experience. Finally, operational flexibility. The World Cup demonstrated the importance of adapting in real time. Whether through flexible bus deployment, enhanced police and Metro support, or improved traffic management strategies, we'll continue to identify innovative solutions that improve reliability while maintaining a high-quality customer service. Turning to communications and customer experience, the World Cup reinforced that effective communication is just as important as operational execution. We identified 5 key lessons that will strengthen future events. Customer satisfaction remained exceptionally high throughout the World Cup 2026, underscoring the effectiveness of Long Beach Transit's customer service and outreach efforts. At the same time, the event revealed opportunities to further elevate the customer experience, helping guide improvement for future operations, such as, first, volunteer planning and deployment. Our volunteers were instrumental to the success of the service, and employee participation exceeded expectations. Moving forward, we will develop a more structured approach to volunteer staffing based on anticipated customer demand while ensuring briefing, locations, signage, and cooling resources are identified well in advance. Second, customer-facing resources. Simple tools make a significant difference. Wayfinding signage, outreach materials, and our customer feedback QR codes helped customers navigate the service and increase engagement. We also identified opportunities to improve the durability of signage and maintain flexibility in volunteer deployment as our operating conditions change. Third, customer feedback. Customer satisfaction exceeded our expectations with a 63% survey participation rate and an average satisfaction score of 4.84 out of 5. These results validated the quality of our service while also providing valuable insights to further enhance the customer experience. We also observed that customers attending late night matches were less likely to complete surveys, which will help inform future outreach strategies. Fourth, interagency coordination. As we begin partnering with Metro and other regional agencies, it will be important to align serving methodologies, clearly communicate customer feedback processes, and ensure staff are fully briefed on data collection protocols. This will strengthen the consistency and integrity of the information used to evaluate service performance. Finally, public communications. Public response to Long Beach Transit was overwhelmingly positive, reinforced by strong social media engagement and customer feedback. Sharing these success stories through proactive communication and media outreach will help build public confidence, recognize our employees, and reinforce Long Beach Transit's role as trusted transportation provider for major regional events. Finally, I would like to highlight several key lessons learned related to safety, security, and event operations. One of our greatest strengths through the tournament was a strong partnership between Long Beach Transit, the Long Beach Police Department, transit ambassadors, and our operational staff. This collaboration helped maintain safe operations, manage customer movement, and ensure reliable access to our service throughout the tournament. Looking ahead, we identified several opportunities to further strengthen our operations. First, earlier parking enforcement and towing operations are critical to keeping our bus staging areas clear. Second, coordinated event and crowd management will continue to be essential. Whether managing heavy traffic, planned demonstrations, or customer activity in Long Beach and at the venue, early coordination with our public safety partners and consistent deployment of transit ambassadors will improve customer flow, wayfinding, and overall operational efficiencies. Lastly, while safety performance remained exceptionally strong, the tournament reinforced the importance of maintaining clear incident reporting procedures and ensuring frontline employees have the training and support needed to confidently address unexpected situations and customer behavioral issues. Overall, these lessons reaffirm that delivering a successful major event requires more than reliable transportation. It requires strong partnerships, proactive planning, coordinated communication, and a shared commitment to safety and customer service. Those partnerships and key lessons learned will serve as a strong foundation as we continue preparing for the LA 28 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And in closing, I want to recognize more than 160 Long Beach Transit employees who contributed to the success of this operation. From our operators and mechanics to customer service representatives, field operators, supervisors, maintenance personnel, dispatchers, transit ambassadors, and volunteers, this achievement was truly a team effort. I also want to thank our regional partners, including Metro, the Long Beach Police Department, the City of Long Beach, and many agencies that worked alongside us to deliver a safe and successful World Cup experience. The FIFA World Cup was just more than a transportation operation. It was an opportunity for Long Beach Transit to demonstrate our ability to plan, coordinate, and deliver world-class transit service on an international stage. While we're proud of what we have accomplished, we're equally excited about what we have learned. These lessons will continue to shape our planning as we develop a comprehensive approach to supporting the LA 28 Olympic and Paralympic Games. With the dedication of our employees, the strength of our regional partnerships, and the experience gained over the past 29 days, I am confident that Long Beach Transit is well positioned to once again welcome the world to Southern California. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Are there any public comment? Great. Any board discussion? Director Angeles?
Can you go back just the one slide with the picture? With before the thank you, the one that says thank you. I did just want to point out here, I don't know if the public or everybody can see, every member of the executive staff is actually on this picture. So as you pointed out today with respect to it, folks that were at the executive level were at this event and participated. And so the other thing I wanted to point out is Kimberly's wearing that vest. So you guys got to admit why it is that I didn't recognize her, right? So none of these folks look like the way they do over here in the dais as they do out there with the vest. But again, I've already said my piece. The only thing is that I did want to share with the group is that I had the opportunity in Detroit to participate in the same conversation about readout on the World Cup. Dallas spoke, Kansas City spoke, and talked about their experience, and everything was very positive as it relates to it. Two suggestions that I would have is number one, it was really interesting what they said was that it was actually not a problem for the foreign travelers to figure out how to get on public transit. It was the Americans that that had trouble figuring out how to buy a ticket, how to use their phone, so I think if we could do a better job of communicating that through the cable systems, cable channels. It was very much pointed out that in other places in Europe and everywhere else, public transit is like a natural part of their lives. And so it's the Americans that had figuring out how to, buy a ticket or get on transit. So I thought that was a very interesting fact that everybody had actually shared. And as the world is coming for the Olympics, I think it'll be similar. So you have a lot of Europeans that know how to take public transit. Excellent presentation. I would recommend that you share it with LA 28. And that I think in terms of lessons learned, and I think with Metro combined to just with them knowing what we experienced in the World Cup would be very beneficial to them. The wayfinding is actually, I think that needs a little help. When the people were coming out of the stadium, I would have wished that they had one of those people that, spin the little signs and tell you where to go so that you can kind of know where to go. Because they're literally, thousands of people coming out and trying to figure out where to go to get public transit. But otherwise, I have nothing but positive things to say about the contribution that we made to the World Cup. Thank you.
Great. And then Director Almada?
Yeah, and then to add to your comment, actually, there was that nice LA Times article, which is like the big winner of the World Cup was public transit. So I think congratulations to your team. Great presentation. I was in downtown pretty much every single one of those times, and your team was very, very visible. But also not just on the experiential level, our ambassador has said just great things about your team and how it worked in downtown and questions they had and stuff. So congrats to you guys and thank you for partnering. Also wanted to add, I only had really one question, which was just, you mentioned the lane management issue. Was that mostly in Long Beach or was that outside, or where did that come from?
It was specifically at the Intuit Dome, SoFi area at our staging location.
But not so much the staging in Long Beach.
Director Rawlings?
Thank you, Chair. And thank you so much for the presentation. Yeah, this was great. I think overall a resounding success. And I want to thank the organization for pulling this off. It's been a long time since we've done something really big like this, and specifically all the teammates that contributed. I just have a very quick question. I'm impressed with the turnaround time on your data, actually, for this. Can you speak to how you guys compiled all of that so quickly to share it with us in a report?
Which data?
customer experience data, your insights, how?
So for the customer experience, we actually had a QR code. So anyone getting on our buses, we encourage them. So we would get that literally that night and we report that out. We also had our supervisors and also volunteers counting the number of customers getting on board. And we also work with Metro to reconcile those numbers just to make sure that what we were counting manually met and reconciled with the numbers that they also saw.
Great, thank you. I know. Oh wow, voice crack. I guess I'm going through puberty again, everybody. Um, um, I know sometimes it can be a challenge to give timely information because you got to go searching for the data and find out who has it and where it's stored. I would ask or gently recommend that we take what we learned from being able to turn this data around so quickly to try to embed that in a lot of our other processes to make sure that if we're capable of turning around in just a matter of days after something like this ends, we should be able to provide much faster and more consistent updates for similar things, is all I ask. Thank you.
Great. Anybody? Director Kemp? Oh, sorry, Director Norvig. He did text me. I'm sorry.
Director Norvig?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Deputy CEO Yu, for the presentation. I just want to commend you and staff on the report, particularly the lessons learned section. While it's important to acknowledge and celebrate the success LBT had with these type of operations, I also appreciate that the report goes beyond celebrating our accomplishments and takes a look at opportunities for improvement, which will be invaluable, as you mentioned, when we prep for the larger events coming our way. On a personal note, I ran into several LBT staff along First Street, Long Beach Boulevard, and Elm Avenue when the LA hosted the matches. Everyone looked professional, visible, ready, and organized. And I think anyone would agree that LBT looked pretty awesome out there. I won't repeat what Director Angela said, but yes, it was a theme that agencies spoke about the success of the World Cup at the conference. And I believe the last time that all these agencies had success with a large event was the Taylor Swift concerts. So thank you to all 160 employees, and thank you for the report.
And then Director Kemp.
Yeah, thank you. I just wish you could have got some refs for FIFA so that, wouldn't be so much scandal with these games. But I just want to say that I'm so proud of Long Beach and I'm so proud of Long Beach Transit. This report is fantastic. I didn't go to any of the games because I'm not a soccer fan. But I heard so much good feedback out here in these Long Beach streets, just more than I've ever heard about anything as it relates to Long Beach Transit. So I really want to commend you, the entire team, for putting together a program that made our entire city shine, not just our agency. I know that something like this had to be terrifying to get ready for, but to execute it with such excellence and after scoring such a fantastic touchdown, not to spike the ball, but to get back into the lab and figure out how we can do it better for the next big thing is reflective of the kind of continuous improvement that makes us an excellent organization. I just want to thank you very much for your leadership in this.
Great. Any additional feedback from the board? I also want to say amazing job. I had friends, colleagues that went and they're just like, it was just so easy to ride. But I think one of the things that I also got from Metro was they actually sent it, as someone that works for government, they actually sent it to they also sent reporting to their legislative offices and to show the impact. So I would also recommend if that information, this key information will be very helpful, especially at the state level, since they do have a subcommittee on Olympics, to show the work that we did so we can continue to uplift that work. Any additional comments? Or, oh,
Just some more. Might be an opportunity to collaborate with our excellent government affairs team and squeeze some money out of some folks for the future large events that we have, highlighting all that it does for California, not just Long Beach, but just on your point. I just want to make one more comment, because we were talking about all the great things. This was also so cheap. People were surprised at how cheap it was, how affordable it was. So yeah, it is. I'm sure I speak for all of us in saying that it is something that I think helps us all stand a little bit taller as board members, because of the work you did on it. So thank you very much.
oh yes. Christopher.
So I just want to pick up on your comment, Carl. I think it's great that it's affordable and we never want to gouge people, but I do, as we look to the Olympics and other big events like this, these are not our typical events. And World Cup tickets were over $1,000 a person. I think we could have charged more without gouging people and provided some better revenue to the agency, just to be very blunt about it. So I want us to think about that in the future. It's such an amazing, wonderful, really good job. I don't want to diminish it in any way, but I do, whether it's a future sporting event or concerts or whatever it is, when the service we're providing is different than our daily service, I want us to price it appropriately. And that may sometimes be a much higher price than we charge for our daily service. And I think that's absolutely okay.
Any additional feedback from the board? All right. Thank you so much, Kimberly. And then Kim Lee will present agenda item 11.
So as Kim comes up and get prepared, I just want to set the stage on this here. We brought this to the board a long time ago that we were going to upgrade the transit gallery. We had a person from the city that came in and talked about what we were working together with. But before we did this and bring it to the board, we asked for customer feedback. Normally we wait for the board, but we had brought this before, so we are going to include in this presentation today some of the customer feedback of the renditions that we have for this. So with that, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Mejia, members of the board, Mr. McDonald, and all who are assembled here today. My name is Kim Lei, Manager for Transit Customer Amenities here at Long Beach Transit, and I'm before you today to give you an update on the Transit Gallery Improvement Project. So the Transit Gallery is located on First Street between Pine Avenue and Long Beach Boulevard in downtown Long Beach. It serves as the hub for LBT's major routes, and other local transit operators also service here. The Transit Gallery consists of 8 bus shelter bays labeled A to H and is next to our Transit Visitor and Information Center, or TVIC. So the Transit Gallery Improvement Project focuses on enhancing digital wayfinding, improving lighting, and other structural upgrades to better support customer navigation and safety. At the January 22nd, 2026 Board of Directors meeting, this board approved the architectural and engineering design services contract for the Transit Gallery Improvement Project to Burns Engineering. And a representative from Burns Engineering is here with us today. This presentation, as Ms. McDonald mentioned, is in response to the board's request at that January meeting to review and provide feedback on the design concepts. And so final design is expected to be completed this fall 2026, with construction expected to be completed in the last quarter of 2027. So through a collaborative process, project development process with LBT, the Burns Engineering team has developed 2 design concepts that we would like to share with you all today. On this slide is the design concept number 1. This rendering on the left displays the full shelter size looking from the street view. And then the rendering on the right is a zoomed in view of the transit of the bus shelter looking out from the sidewalk. So This concept includes an overhead This concept includes an overhead flag-mounted LED board at each bus shelter bay that displays real-time bus departure information as indicated in that circled number 1. Circled number 2 indicates an enclosed LED high-resolution digital monitor that can provide a variety of messages and content related to services, LBT information. And then circled number 3 indicates prominent shelter ID markers on the columns and the flag mounted with illuminated lettering for quick identification of the shelter base. And then lastly, number 4, there is an accent lighting on the columns that are programmable and controllable for aesthetics and security reasons. And lighting, just to make a note, will not be causing spillover into the nearby residents. And then here are other views of that design concept number 1. The rendering on the left is a view of the bus shelter bay looking from the back of the shelter. And then the rendering on the right is a view of the full shelter bay from at night. So other aspects of this design concept number 1 are circle number 1 is a prominent vertical transit gallery lettering and Long Beach Transit signage and logo for more prominent location and brand identity. And then circle number 2 are vandal resistant poster cases that provide non-digital Long Beach Transit bus information, maps, community artwork, and other content messaging. And then circle number 3 is area downlighting for greater illumination under the shelters. And then this is design concept number 2. So the rendering on the left again displays the full bus shelter looking from the street. And then the one on the right displays the zoom in view of the bus shelter looking from the sidewalk. So with this design concept number 2, it includes digital displays that wrap around the column of the base as indicated by the circled 1. This digital display is fully programmable and can show a variety of content simultaneously. So that could include bus route information, seasonal messages, special event messaging, and other content. Circle number 2 indicates a flag-mounted lettering for quick identification of shelter bays. And then the circle number 3 indicates or includes that full height transit gallery lettering but this time under the bus shelter for patient identity. And so here is another view of that design concept number 2. The first on the left is the view of the bus shelter bay looking from the back of the shelter. And then the rendering on the right is the full bus shelter looking at night. And so with this design concept, other aspects include circle number 1, which is that Long Beach branded signage and logo. And then circle number 2 are, again, vandal resistant poster cases that provide non-digital LBT information. And then lastly, circle number 3 is that color programmable uplight wash and new LED area downlighting for aesthetics and enhanced security. So at that meeting in January, the board also requested customer outreach be conducted to gather input on the proposed designs. And so to ensure that the customers who use the transit gallery had an opportunity to share their perspective and experiences, LBT launched a dedicated project webpage on June 30th and promoted the outreach through social media. The webpage provided information about the proposed upgrades and design concepts and invited customers to identify their priorities at the transit gallery and also to indicate their preferred design concept. The posters will also installed at the at the transit gallery at the bus shelter bays to inform customers and direct them to the webpage to take the survey. That survey closed on July 21st. And so the website, just to give you a glimpse of the results, the website was visited over 1,200 times as of July 21st. LBT received over 100 survey responses. The survey respondents had a slight preference for design concept number 2, specifically 43.8% of respondents chose design concept 1, 48.2% chose design concept 2, and then the remaining 7% had no preference. So here's this slide shows a summary of the 2 design concepts again. The key differences, just to highlight, is that with design concept 1, it includes that flag-mounted real-time bus arrival sign with the LED monitor display. Design concept 1 also includes accent lighting on the columns, and in this case, the transit gallery lettering is on top of the shelter canopy. And then, whereas design concept 2 includes that wraparound digital display, and then it also has the light wash and down lighting, plus the transit gallery lettering is under the shelter canopy. So feedback received from the public outreach process, along with input from you all today, will be evaluated as the project team works to select that preferred concept in order to advance into detailed design, engineering, and permitting. So we plan to return to this board in early 2027 for your approval of a construction contract award. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions, comments, input from this board.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Any public comment? Seeing none. Discussion for the board. And now, Director, you had a...
Thank you. A great presentation, beautiful renderings. Anytime I'm approaching a bus bay, I get a little anxiety because I don't know where to go. So if there are multiple bus bays, I'm looking for information that shows, tells me which one do I go to. Could you describe how that customer, me, is going to be satisfied with this new design?
I think in summary, with the upgraded digital monitors, wherever you stand, these will be able to show you simultaneously where the other bus shelters are and where the other bus routes are, so that if you're standing, let's say, for example, at shelter A, those digital monitors plus the upgraded non-digital information will tell you where you should be.
So I'll be able to go to that screen and see not only that information on that particular stop, but the others nearby. Yeah, good. Thank you.
And just as a note, currently there are decals at the shelters that tell you where the other locations are as well.
Great. Director Norvey.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I have just one question. Why did we only receive 108 survey results?
Madam Chair? May I? Yeah, Director Norvey, I appreciate the question. I don't think that's anything that can be controlled for or answered in these type of public information gathering efforts. It's been my experience that you get what you get. I was actually kind of impressed that we got 108 responses given the subject matter. Most folks aren't interested in this. It is a low number in the grand scheme of things in terms of the writers we have, but responding to something like this, I thought it was impressive.
Thank you. Can staff answer the question though?
To be honest, I don't know the answer to that.
Can someone in your unit or
So I can try to take that on, but I don't know how we'd answer a question about why only 100 people. There were 1,200 people or more that went to the site. People just didn't make any comments. 108 of the 1,200 people made comments. So, but the site was visited 1,200 times.
I guess I was wondering about the outreach.
So we created a dedicated web page, a Transit Gallery web page with its own website link. We notify customers with the posters, the actual posters displayed throughout the Transit Gallery. We also notify customers via our social media channels like like Facebook, LinkedIn, and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional feedback, Director Almeida?
Just had a question on the I think it's concept one, those lights. You said they're programmable, but is it different colors that can be programmed, or is it just different arrangements? I'm thinking about the holidays, for example, or kind of like what our International Gateway Bridge does. Some holidays they'll do a certain color.
Yes, that's the intent. So you can change it to different colors depending on what season we want to celebrate. You can also make it dimmer or brighter. And so it's fully programmable and controllable. And we're very mindful that we don't want, a lot of spillover to nearby residents or businesses.
Nice. Well, my only note would be I kind of lean towards concept one just because it seems more like a placemaking effort, but really, I like that. Thank you so much.
Any additional feedback from the board? Director Kemp?
Yeah, and thank you for that presentation. And I appreciate as a public affairs professional that it's difficult to gather feedback, and so I applaud the result. To Director Murata's point, if actually it's not a question. It's a request. So for holidays like Pride or Black History Month or the variety of holidays that we have, I would ask that those be programmed into the LED to reflect the diverse community that Long Beach is.
Great. Any additional feedback? I will actually say that I like design concept one. I really like the light portion of it. Just a question, are all of the signage all digital? None of it was going to be like paper, or is it a mixture of things?
So a big goal of this project is to upgrade the digital system down there. But we will still maintain the current or configurations of the analog posters. So for example, you can see here at concept number one, that circled number 3 there. Those are the poster displays that are non-digital. And each of those spaces will have about 3. So there's plenty of real estate for non-digital information as well.
Got it. And I really do like the fact, I think you mentioned that you want to work with like artists as well, or bringing art, or
I think this would give us more opportunities to work with local artists than we do currently.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Any additional comment? Seeing none, thank you so much.
I guess the intent to showing this today is that now we will continue towards the final design. We know that we got a lot of feedback. The public said 48% wanted concept 2. I think it was. Let me make sure for that. Yeah, they wanted concept number 2. So we're gonna now get into the real design of the project. We wanted to make sure the board was aware of this. If you had any input, and now we're gonna move forward to have this back in the board for approval to start construction, because I would like to have it done before the Olympics, or long before, so we can utilize it. We don't want to have it 3 weeks before the Olympics and we don't know how to control the lights and stuff like that. So intent to have it done by the end of the 2027, so we can utilize it and the features that it has moving forward. So that's the plan.
Great, thank you, Ken. And then Joanna Bold will present agenda item 12.
Good afternoon, Chair Mejia, members of the board, Mr. McDonald, and all who are assembled here. My name is Joanna Bould, and I'm the manager of procurement. I am before you today to provide an update on Long Beach Transit's vendor program and our efforts to expand engagement with local, small, and disadvantaged businesses. I will provide an overview of LBT's longstanding disadvantaged business enterprise, or DBE, and small business enterprise, or SBE, programs, introduce our local outreach initiative, and outline the regulatory environment that shapes our procurement activities. I will then discuss the current status of the DBE program in light of recent federal rule changes, compare Long Beach Transit's programs with those of our partner agencies, and review the key results of LBT's local vendor outreach initiative. Finally, I will summarize key takeaways and highlight the progress we have made in expanding local vendor participation in LBT's procurements. For state and locally funded projects, LBT establishes SBE participation goals. These goals are incorporated into procurement documents, and firms are expected to meet the goal or demonstrate they made a good faith effort to do so. To qualify as an SBE, a business must meet the size standard established by the U.S. Small Business Administration. Those standards vary by industry and are based on revenue or employee thresholds. While Long Beach Transit does not certify SBEs directly, we recognize certifications issued by government agencies throughout the region that use SBA criteria. Focusing now on LBT's outreach and engagement efforts, I'd like to introduce the Local Vendor Outreach Initiative. LBT Procurement launched this initiative in July of 2024 to strengthen relationships with local businesses and identify opportunities to increase spending within LA County. The initiative is built around 4 core components: conducting a structured internal review of spending patterns, engaging local vendors through targeted outreach and site visits, promoting upcoming contracting opportunities, and collaborating with regional public agencies. The goals of the Local Vendor Outreach Initiative are to expand participation by local businesses, increase awareness of LBT's contracting opportunities, and support local economic growth while remaining fully compliant with all applicable state and federal regulations. Later in this presentation, I'll share the measurable outcomes and key results achieved through this initiative. A key consideration in our vendor outreach activities is the regulatory framework under which LBT operates. As a recipient of federal transit funding, LBT must comply with the U.S. Department of Transportation regulations in 49 CFR Part 26 and with the FTA procurement requirements contained in 2 CFR Part 200 and FTA Circular 42201G. These regulations generally prohibit geographic preferences. This means that for any project using federal funds, we cannot provide an advantage to a business simply because it is located in Long Beach or LA County. There are rare exceptions to this prohibition during major disasters or for certain qualification-based design criteria in highly competitive procurements. Next, under California Proposition 209, public agencies are prohibited from granting preferences based on race, gender, ethnicity, or national origin. These requirements establish the compliance boundaries within which our programs operate and shape the outreach-focused approach we use to encourage SBE and local business participation. I will now provide an overview of LBT's DBE program. As I will explain further, this program is currently suspended by the federal government. When the federal DBE program is active, the LBT's Regulatory Compliance and Civil Rights Department establishes DBE participation goals for federally funded projects. The agency also develops an overall agency-wide DBE goal every 3 years. These goals are incorporated into solicitation documents, and bidders must either meet the established DBE goal, or demonstrate that they made good faith efforts to do so. Although LBT administers a DBE program, the agency does not certify DBE firms. Instead, California administers the certification process through the California Unified Certification Program, or CUCP. To ensure consistency throughout the state and avoid duplicative certification processes, California limits the number of agencies authorized to perform DBE certifications. The state currently designates 10 core certifying agencies. LBT recognizes DBE certifications issued by any authorized CUCP certifying agency and primarily works with the City of Los Angeles, LA Metro, and Caltrans, which are among the state's designated certifying agencies. As I mentioned earlier, the federal DBE program is currently paused. In October 2025, the United States Department of Transportation issued an interim final rule pausing the federal DBE program until all DBE firms are reevaluated for social and economic disadvantage under new criteria. As a result, DBE certifications across California are being reevaluated by the CUCP. Until that process is complete, Long Beach Transit cannot establish DBE contract goals, count DBE participation toward goals, or require DBE participation as part of its procurements. At this time, no statewide recertification timeline has been published. Many of our regional partner agencies share similar objectives related to supporting small and local businesses. However, they operate under different regulatory frameworks. For example, the City of Long Beach may utilize local preference mechanisms that are not available to LBT. LBT is prohibited from geographic preferences, local preference mechanisms, or agency-specific certification programs. Any attempt to implement these measures would jeopardize federal funding. The City of Long Beach administers its own small business enterprise certification program and verifies eligibility for local small business enterprise and very small business enterprise firms. The Port has an SBE certification program and also accepts SBE certifications from other agencies. LBT, the city, and the Port all do a significant amount of outreach to local vendors and small businesses. LBT's program emphasizes engagement strategies to increase awareness of contracting opportunities while maintaining compliance with federal and state regulations. I will now turn to the results of these recent outreach efforts. As I mentioned previously, LBT launched its local vendor outreach initiative in July of 2024, and we have seen a measurable increase in local spending since that time. This chart illustrates the total spend across LA County over 3 fiscal years, showing spending within the city of Long Beach in blue and the rest of LA County in orange. Overall spending within LA County has grown from approximately 20 million to nearly 30 million annually across the time period shown in this chart. Importantly, this growth reflects deliberate efforts by procurement and our internal partners to identify qualified local suppliers and transition spending where competitive local options exist. Examples include more than $3 million in IT projects and more than $820,000 in parts and supply purchases that were shifted from non-local vendors to local businesses. Looking specifically at the City of Long Beach, spending has increased steadily over the last 2 fiscal years. Data indicates sustained investment in Long Beach businesses and a strengthening local procurement footprint. To achieve these gains, staff conduct market research to identify Long Beach businesses capable of supplying recurring parts and supplies. Once potential partners are identified, we meet with the firms, conduct site visits, share relevant purchasing needs, and onboard the qualified vendors into our procurement and financial systems. This work is both resource intensive and incremental, but the results show that it is steadily expanding our local supplier base and increasing the share of spend directed into the City of Long Beach. These gains not only strengthen the local economy, they also enhance LBT's operational agility and create long-term opportunities for local firms. Another significant contributor to this progress has been our active participation in outreach events throughout the region. These events provide opportunities to meet prospective vendors, explain LBT's procurement process, discuss upcoming contracting opportunities, and answer questions directly from the business community. We also maintain close coordination with the City of Long Beach and the Port of Long Beach to share information, align outreach efforts, and maximize the impact of our collective engagement activities. In April of 2026, LBT participated in the City of Long Beach's inaugural Doing Business with the City Expo, and we will join the Port of Long Beach's Small Business Summit in October 2026. These collaborative partnerships expand our access to suppliers and help LBT maximize resources through shared outreach and leverage engagement with larger public agencies. In summary, I would like to highlight 5 key takeaways. First, Long Beach Transit remains fully compliant with all federal and state requirements. Second, the federal DBE program remains paused, pending completion of the reevaluation process. LBT's SBE program remains active, and although local preference programs are not permitted, LBT continues to support small business participation through outreach and engagement activities. And the local vendor outreach initiative is delivering measurable results, increasing both local spending and vendor participation. As I close, I'm extremely proud to share a prestigious award that the LBT procurement team has received. This is the 2nd consecutive year that LBT procurement has earned the Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award. This award is given to agencies that demonstrate organizational excellence in procurement by obtaining a high score on criteria designed to measure innovation, professionalism, productivity, e-procurement, and leadership attributes. Long Beach Transit was one of only 10 transit agencies nationwide to earn this award. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? All right. Any discussion from the board? Director Kim, and then Director Andrew.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much. I requested this at our last board meeting, and it's an excellent presentation. It addresses a lot of the questions that I have. I'll have some follow-up questions once I have some time to digest this. I'm not going to try to have you answer on the floor right now. I just wanted to clarify one thing. The dollar amount that you said this program has yielded in terms of those programs that have benefited from it. What's the dollar amount since the implementation of this in 2024?
Sorry, the dollar amount that the local vendor initiative has shifted to Long Beach?
Yeah.
Just over $1 million.
Got it. And when we say local, does that also include minority disadvantaged, women-owned businesses?
It's based neutral, so it's local, and we track Long Beach specifically, and then LA County is considered local as well.
So it's a regional consideration. There are no other considerations beyond that. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'll have my questions at a later time, but I appreciate the presentation. Very well done.
Director Angeles.
Was that actually the size of the trophy? Was like congratulations on the accomplishment, but I was looking at the picture and I said, is because if you go back one, Jen, it seemed like look at the size of that trophy.
We actually haven't gotten our award yet for 2026 officially. That is from an internal award ceremony that we did.
Any additional comments from the board? All right. Thank you so much. This is a great presentation, Joanna. Thank you. And now Lisa Patton represents agenda item 13.
Good afternoon, Chair Mejia, members of the board, Mr. McDonald, and everyone assembled here today. My name is Lisa Patton, and I'm the Executive Director and Vice President of Finance and Budget. And I'm before you today to present the fiscal year 2026 fourth quarter preliminary financial report. So today I'll begin quickly with the operating environment by highlighting just one key measure to show how effectively LBT is delivering service during the year. From there, I'll walk through the operating budget performance, including revenue and expenses, to show how LBT performed in 2026. And finally, I'll close with the financial pressures that the LBT leadership team is continuing to manage as we work to meet customer needs with limited resources. So before we turn to the financial results, I'd like to begin with one measure of operating performance, and this shows how consistently LBT delivered the service scheduled for our customers. So in looking at the bar charts, you can see that over the past 3 years, our performance has continued to improve, and in fiscal year 2026, LBT delivered virtually all scheduled revenue service at 99.9%. This achievement reflects successful recruiting, strategic schedule planning, and close coordination across the agency. This includes transit service delivery and maintenance working together each day to align vehicle availability with service needs and making timely adjustments as conditions change. The bar chart shows how LBT has consistently delivered service at a high level, and this year our team built on that foundation to deliver even stronger results. This horizontal bar chart shows the composition of LBT's actual operating revenue by category. The primary source is subsidy revenue, which provides the majority of the funding used to support LBT's transit operations. Farebox revenue represents a much smaller share, followed by other operating revenue. The key takeaway is that LBT's financial position depends heavily on subsidy performance. Subsidy revenues, in turn, are shaped by the broader economic conditions, particularly the strength of sales tax receipts. Overall, subsidy performance remains a key factor in evaluating LBT's year-end financial results. This speedometer gauge compares LBT's actual fiscal year 26 subsidy revenue that we received with the amount budgeted by funding source. The colored portion of each gauge represents the revenue received, and the black marker represents the budgeted amount. Starting at the top, you can see that county funding finished the year right on plan. Next, you can see how the state funding reflects the largest variance to budget. That funding reduction is the biggest reason that total subsidy revenue is under budget for the year. Federal funding is also below budget, primarily due to the timing of federal drawdowns. Local funding finished slightly above budget, although it remains our smallest subsidy source. Overall, subsidy revenue finished at 96% of budget, or 4% below plan. So this first bar represents LBT's fiscal year 26 operating budget. The next bar gives us a comparison to show our actual year-end expenses finished. They also finished at 96% in alignment with actual revenue. So throughout the year, the CEO and I monitored revenue performance and made strategic financial decisions in alignment with the executive leadership team to make sure we are aligning operating expenses with the resources that LBT was actually receiving. Our priority was to protect the spending most directly connected to service delivery. Operator and maintenance labor were maintained, while spending in administrative and support areas, including salaried labor, professional services, fuel, and travel, were carefully managed by the leadership team. This approach also provided flexibility to absorb higher than budgeted costs in areas such as casualty and liability expenses. As a result, total operating expenses were brought in line with actual revenue, allowing LBT to maintain a balanced year-end position without reducing service. This flow diagram shows how LBT's available operating revenue flowed to our core business categories. On the left is the actual funding received from fare revenue, other operating revenue, and subsidies. On the right is how those resources supported LBT. The largest share was directed to transit service delivery, the work most directly connected to serving our customers. The next largest share supported transit asset management, including the maintenance activities needed to keep the buses safe, reliable, and available for service. The remaining funding supported the essential functions that sustain service delivery, including business operations, information technology, customer experience, and risk management. This allocation reflects the financial strategies the CEO and I followed throughout the year to manage within the revenue LBT was actually receiving, prioritizing the areas most critical to service and carefully managing the supporting areas of the organization. This approach allowed LBT to maintain strong service delivery and finish the year in balance without reducing service. I'll take just a moment to walk through 3 of the financial pressures that are shaping our outlook moving forward. First, subsidy revenue continues to be the foundational part of LBT's operating budget. As a result, our financial outlook is closely tied to the broader economy because much of our subsidy funding is tied to sales tax performance. Second, we're facing projected reductions and growing uncertainty in future grant funding. Economic and political conditions at both the state and federal level are shifting and reducing the availability of long-term grant funding. And finally, we'll continue to experience steady cost growth across the organization. Inflation and higher personnel costs are all contributing to rising operating expenses. At the same time, zero-emission bus infrastructure continues to escalate in cost, and public liability and property damage costs are also increasing. Together, these pressures are making it more expensive to provide service and creating added strain on our budgets moving forward. This graph brings the financial pressures into one view by comparing 2 important funding sources with inflation. Starting with fiscal year 2024, cumulative inflation has increased over 6%. In LA County, it has exceeded 6.6%. At the same time, proposition funding has not increased compared to fiscal year 24. And then the bottom line reflects the federal formula funding, and you can see how it remains below 2024 levels. So taken together, these trends have reduced the purchasing power of our funding and widened the gap between available resources and the rising cost of providing service. This completes my report. I am happy to answer any questions, and I do want to give a shout out to Kevin Schrader, Carly Wade, and Save Wise for creating this presentation so quickly after the end of the fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any public comments? Any discussion from the board? Director Rawlings?
Thank you very much, both to you and all the teammates that helped put this together. I think this kicks off a prudent discussion of all the quarterly financial reports. This is a really good one, and I can tell that you guys, especially from previous ones, have put in a lot of effort into updating graphs and the charts and like really making this understandable on top of all the data that you provided. So thank you for all of that. I think we're going to need a continuation of the great work that you're doing over the next 2 years. I'm so sorry to nitpick, but the data nerd in me just has one question. Could we please go back to the very first chart about service miles?
Sure, the service delivery rate is
Yeah.
99.9%.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would just ask that in the future we be careful. I think 99% of the time we do a fantastic job. But if I didn't know better looking at this, it makes it feel like there's been a massive improvement. I would just ask that on the y-axis, we try to make sure that we show a bigger scope so that it aligns with a lot of the other charts we see where, yes, there is an improvement, and yes, kudos to the entire organization for that improvement. And I know the closer you get to 100%, the harder it is to get another small fraction of that percent. Totally understand. But for the sake of public transparency, let's be careful with how we display some of these.
Thank you. That's on me. And now that you pointed out, I see what you're saying. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion from the board? Great. Seeing none, thank you so much, Lisa. Now we're going on to public comment. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, okay. At this time, I'd like to move into closed session to discuss items set forth on agenda item 15. Are there any public comments? The board is adjourned to closed session. been sitting for like 4 hours. Okay. The board now reconvenes from closed session. Will general counsel provide a closed session report on the agenda item 15?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The board met in closed session on the stated agenda item. No reportable action occurred. No direction was given.
Great, thanks. Now for board request. There is one board request that we direct a plan from the CEO to address the future fiscal challenges affecting the organization. What are the what are the public's engagement strategy and in hopes that we do this publicly? Any other board requests? Yes, Director Omeda.
Yeah, I had one from just the beginning of the meeting. It was about the asking the CEO to look at the 3-month kind of rule for the end of contracts, but also to consider the implementation process in that. Just because I know that discussion came up earlier. It's 3 months in advance, but it truly wasn't because we couldn't. The implementation was required as a part of it. They're just re-looking at it as when contracts have a upcoming lapse, so there's additional time for staff in case the board is looking at postponing or something like that. They're just looking at that. I don't know if that's a policy or if that's just a practice, but yeah.
It is a practice. I think what you're saying is to make sure, like this time we didn't have July, so it was 3 months, but we don't have an August meeting. So making sure that there is not a lapse in between the 3 months. Yeah, I get it.
All right, any additional board requests? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve the recommendation to adjourn?
Moved.
Is there a second? Call for a roll call vote?
Chair Mejia,
Aye.
Vice Chair Yorve, Secretary Treasurer Rawlings,
Aye.
Director Almeida,
Aye.
Director Angeles, Director Kemp, Director Sutton, Directors Anyorve, Angeles, and Sutton have been excused.
Great. The motion carries. The meeting is now adjourned. The regular meeting will be held September 24, 2026. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.